Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We are here with war number 3 of season 45, and we have a nice war here, another 9-fight war with Stealthy, but unfortunately, for the first time this season, I'm going to be using an attacker that is not Stealthy, because the first two wars were 9 fights and 8 fights respectively, all with Stealthy. And there, my medium, light, medium didn't push me to an SP1 because I didn't parry. It actually isn't enough combat power rate if you don't parry. The other thing is that this guy may be running Tech Collar, because I'm not sure which of those two it is. But he is going to go unstoppable here because he did have a chance to go unstoppable. I knew he did because I have to knock down to shut down the node. But I don't really have to talk about this fight very much because it's very, very straightforward. And then we'll go into a Hulkling fight. We have this Mantis, and then our next fight's also with Hulkling. But ISO8A is actually my old alliance. And I actually intended to come back to them after I retired last year. Because my plan was to retire during the school year and then play during the summer. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to return because in the time that I was gone, they had gone from a top 10 prestige alliance to a top 5, and I couldn't keep up. I think right now I'm about 1,000 under their average prestige, and most of that is relics. Most of that is relics. And also, I've never ranked for prestige. Rank 5s at least. And then there, she was just being super annoying and just kept dashing back, so I decided to just throw the SP2 into her block. And it worked out. And then here, my second SP2 just barely doesn't kill because I'm using smaller boosts here. If I was using my normal boost, that would have killed. But I killed with an SP3 anyways. So there you go. And let's go to section 2, where we are on path 6, taking Apocalypse on the same node I took him on last season. This one doesn't go as smoothly as that one does. Because Apocalypse is going to be insanely aggressive, and he's actually going to push me back into my own corner. And then I'm going to have to do something weird to get out of my corner that you'll see, but it does work. So basically the strat here is to hit into the block until I am at an SP1, because I want to be there before he gets to an SP1, because with this node, all of his specials are fully unblockable, because he starts with 2 prowess as a defender. This node gives him a 3rd one, and if on this node, if the defender has 3 prowess, it makes all their specials fully unblockable. So here I'm trying to hit into the block. He is not having it. He is just relentlessly dashing at me. And here I decide to save this position. I have to throw my SP2 into the block. Even though it won't go unblockable, I have to push him back somehow, and that gives him less power than the alternative. Here I'm going to dash back, throw my SP2 so it becomes unblockable on the second hit, and here I just have to make him not throw a special. I am very, very confident evading his SP2 fully. I can do it about 95% of the time, but it is obviously safer to take a tiny little bit of block damage and then guarantee a kill right after. So here, this is in the morning. Let me skip through the part where I boost up. I think that should be good right there. And we go into this Chavez. This is the second fight on path 6, section 2. I was 1 energy short to take this the night before, and it would have cost me 25 units to take it the night before. I should have just done that, because this was right after I woke up. I gave myself like 20 minutes after I woke up before I started my war fights, and it's going to go terribly. Right there, I genuinely didn't even notice that I procced Dex, so now my evade's gone. But, again, because it's so early in the morning and I'm making bad decisions, I am going to throw my SP1 a millisecond before my evade comes back. Like, it's such a bad time to throw my SP1. Here, literally, if I do medium, light, dash back, and intercept with my SP1, I would have got my precision. And here, she's going to walk up to me. My game lagged, and she hit me with a light before I could react. Like, I'm not joking. You can probably see it there. My game lagged, and I physically was not able to parry her. Like, it didn't work. I didn't miss the parry. the parry didn't work because of the lag. The timing was so weird with the lag. So now I don't have my precision. Here I'm finally going to get my precision, but I've wasted about 45 seconds. If I had just started this fight cleanly, parry light, 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 parry light, 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 parry medium, light, medium into SP1, this is a 35-second fight, and I'm not joking. 35 seconds. And I turned it into a minute 20 because I made those 2 mistakes. 3 mistakes, arguably. And this is the fight that gets a little fishy. This is a rank 2 7-star Sasquatch on node 38. A fight I've taken 6-7 times, but here we're gonna heal up and we are gonna pop our slow pre-fight. You see it activate? Now look at that. Oh, sorry. Let me play. Let me play it until it goes back to the fight screen. Do you see how many pre-fights are on there? There's 1. And I know the way that using champion pre-fights can bug out. The way that it works is that after you apply it, you have to check to see if the icon is there. Because if the icon isn't there, you applied the pre-fight, but the pre-fight will not work in the fight. So what you have to do if the pre-fight icon is not there is you have to hit that back button in the top left, and then you can go right back into the fight, and the pre-fight's going to be there, and it would have said 2. But because I'm so used to using pre-fights with Stealth Spidey, I didn't even think about the possibility that there could be another pre-fight, because I have WAGs on here. Someone applied the WAGs pre-fight. So I look up into the top right, and I see the icon. I'm like, oh, good. My slow applied. Forgetting that there's WAGs on this fight. So I'm going to go into the fight, still not knowing, because at this point I think I have the pre-fight on. And as I finish my first medium light, light, combo, I apply a fragility debuff. And I'm like, oh shit. Because not only is Sasquatch a global defender, he is also a champion that goes unstoppable a lot in his base kit. And I can't prevent that. So, what I'm going to have to do is try to play my absolute best, but I am going to not play this fight so perfectly. The main thing that I say I mess up in this fight is that I didn't re-inflict my fragility. And fragility, it exists for a reason. The reason it exists is to deal more damage. It increases your critical damage, and I just don't apply it in this fight. I don't know why I didn't apply it in this fight, but I never do. There I was testing to see if he'd go unstoppable, and at this point he's low enough, and I'm in a good enough situation. I'm going to go for a combo into my striker right here, into another combo, and that is easily going to kill. So, I was still able to get the fight down, because if you know what you're doing, you don't need the slow that badly. But Kabam was really going out of their way to try to kill me there. They really were. And I offered to take that gore on node 42. I said, I can take it. Do you want me to take it? And they said, nah, we'll send a Tigra. Because I would have taken it with Hulkling, and honestly, I think the fight would have been completely fine. I can't imagine that fight would have gone that badly, especially because I'm max boosted here, and it's just a nuke fight with Hulkling. But here, we have our next fight, which is the Hazard Shift Stun Immune node, and we have a Wiccan here. And Wiccan has a bit of an odd matchup with this attacker tactic. Because if you don't know the way that Wiccan's Neutralize works, it activates on parries, and when you parry and he's a defender, you're going to get neutralized. That's the way it works. And with the attacker tactic, I become immune to the placebo nodes that I would, buffs that I would gain while striking into a tactic defender. And when his neutralize fails a buff, it incinerates you. Now, luckily, I have the attacker tactic to completely stop this this Incinerate damage. But you'll notice, like right here, those 2 Incinerates I have on me are not from Hazard Shift. Those 2 are from his abilities. Now, I'm lucky that the Attacker Tactic prevents all DOT and not just like Hazard Shift. I guess that doesn't make sense. It makes sense that it does affect it, but essentially I shut down both forms of DOT, which is nice. And that fight goes down really easily. Wiccan is not a defender, and I know how to outrange his SP1 consistently and punish it. So that was very easy. Now we are taking this Kingpin. We're going to take this with Hulkling. I believe in the past we've used Apocalypse, which has worked really well, and I do believe is actually the best counter to this fight. But I had Hulkling, so I offered to take it, and I was actually initially assigned this fight. But the way I'm going to deal with the Falter is by throwing heavy attacks to punish the SP1. And I'm going to be hitting really hard, so I need to just calm down and focus on playing this fight correctly. Now, of course, Kingpin's going to gain additional combat power rate from his rage debuffs, and he is also, his special attacks also cost half as much due to the node. But I'm fully aware of that, and here I know that one hit into the block and then an SP2 is not going to push him to SP2, and I was right. If it had, I would have just dexed it. I'm pretty good at dexing his SP2. I get it more often than not. And then here, I thought it was safer not to heavy because I wanted to leave him at very little power, and I knew I would get faltered twice, but it set me up really nicely actually for this next SP2, and all I have to do is combo this into a striker and the fight is over. So there we go, a minute 30. If you watched my videos last season, you'll saw I took that fight one war with Warlock, and it actually took me 4 minutes, and I ended with 10% health because I didn't have a Wag Spree fight. So whenever I bait heavy, that activates the Falter node because of the Unstoppable expiring. But here we have the same Mysterio that I take almost every war. I think it's been on this node all 3 wars this season. Or am I going crazy? No, I think it has. I think he has been here every single war. But I have this fight on lock. I know exactly how to do this fight. And the Scorpion synergy here is going to help me pause my slow debuffs. Not that I would really need them to be paused because I could definitely manage them this fight without that. But yeah, here we're just trying to push to SP2. We hit a nice intercept there, trying to bait some heavies. He actually is really nice in this fight about throwing heavies and about throwing his SP2 because both times he throws it instantly and he's able to give me a little bit of willpower healing, which was very nice. But ISO8A is an alliance full of massive, massive accounts. So I'm fairly certain every single defender I fought this war was an R5 or an R2, although I think Darkhawk was an R4 because he's a diversity placement. I mean, he is global, but you're never, ever going to see him get a kill anywhere. So Photon on the boss node, baby. The same fight we took in War 1, the fight, and the difference, that one was an R5 Ascended. This is a 7-star R2, and you'd think that an R5 Ascended would have higher stats. This one actually has more health by like 5,000. It's close. They're very close, but this one actually does have more health, so I put on my Enervate pre-fight, and oh baby, this is going to be a masterclass in Stealth Spidey. We are just going to be perfectly dexing, countering with a light. I think I only fail to outrange the medium attack and be close enough to counter with a light one single time in this fight. But you'll notice the way that I pause my Enervate to throw my SP1 is I dash back before throwing it, which is the most important thing, because if you lose your Enervate, and that's the one time I mess up the spacing, if you lose your Enervate in this fight, you lose the way that Stealth Spidey counters this fight. But you can very consistently keep it up. You're not going to get screwed by bad AI, because even if the defender goes insanely passive, here we're going to dash back throw our SP2 to just reset the Enervate, but B, also you extend it. But yeah, you'll notice here for about 15-20 seconds, Photon's just going to keep dashing back over and over and over again while in pure light form and just wasting my time. But because of the Scorpion pre-fight, I'm just able to infinitely pause my Fury. Well, my Fury and Precision I can pause without the pre-fight, but I'm able to pause the Enervate with the pre-fight. And this fight is over. I mean, I haven't taken as much as a blocked hit, and this is going to be a beautiful one. Just keep outranging that medium, countering with light attack. Whoever designed Photon... Oh, no, wait. DLL designed Photon. Designed the medium to be insanely aggressive, and it takes so long to recover from the medium that champions with longer light attacks can easily counter. But let me just go back like a second here. There we go. We do finish that in 1:37 with 0 damage taken. Not even as much as a blocked hit. Just a beautiful fight, and I did throw on an invuln just in case, because this node the boss node has a node where the defender gets increased attack for each buff on them. And with the resistances that build up on the boss node, if I were to take a combo at the end of the fight, potentially with like full crits, it could kill me if I didn't have invuln. So that's why I use invuln for boss fights. But that is all for this war, and this war's score was very interesting, because when I went to bed, we were winning the war. They had 90 fights explored, or like 80-90 fights explored with 2 deaths. We had 60 fights explored with 1 death. So statistically, we were winning the war. But when I woke up, we were still winning the war, but it was very close. It was 4-5. We had 120 attacker kills. They had 130. So they'd explored a little more, but we had less deaths. And then I went in and took my last 5 fights. Yeah, my last 5 fights. So we were at 130 around at that point, and we were still winning. Unfortunately, we did die at the end. We died twice to a gore on Node 42, the fight I offered to take. We died twice to it with other champions. And we also died to a Kindred on Path 5, Section 2, and a Sauron on Path 4, Section 2. So, unfortunately, we are going to end up losing this war 5-7, because we died 3 additional times after I cleared my fights. So, GG's to ISO8A. They put up a very good war. I was talking with the officer after the war, and he said that it was their best performance of the season. It was actually our best performance as well, because in War 1 we had 13 deaths, and in War 2 we had 9. If we could have just not died at the end and finished with 4 deaths, it would have been an amazing clear for us and our first win of the season. But unfortunately, we are going to start off this season 0-3. We're digging a big hole for ourselves. Me personally, I have 0 deaths. And my PSR this season is at 26 out of 26 through 3 wars, or 100%. And my Deathless streak is up to 27 fights in a row. So yeah, that's going to be all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.